Hey guys, and welcome to episode 5 of the Off Air podcast. Today we are here with Craig. Craig, how are you going?
Very good. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining. Now, you're a breakfast announcer in Adelaide for Power FM. Do you love it?
Yeah, you got to. But breakfast announcer in Murray Bridge. So we're like an hour out of Adelaide. It's not It's not that bad. Yeah. But, same sort of area.
And you've been at that station for quite a long time.
Yeah, I feel like my story is maybe a little more unique than other people. Other people spend a couple of years here, a couple of years there, and they sort of bounce around. Whereas I sort of rocked up in, I think, 2016.
Yep.
And have been there since. I think I'm coming up on 10 years. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's been one of those things where I sort of started here and then they added a little more and then I jumped to that. So I haven't not progressed or not done anything. I've done a little bit different every sort of couple of years anyway.
Yeah, sure. And so is it right that you started with the breakfast show with Molly?
That's when I started breakfast, but before that I had the drive show. I did a 90s show way back, and when I actually got there, all I was doing was production of ads and weekend shifts, and sort of just hanging out and helping out.
So how long have you been doing the breakfast show with Katie now?
So Katie, it's been 2 years and a bit. I think it was only a couple of months ago. It was 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, right. How did you was there a moment when you knew you wanted to work in radio, or how did that kind of come about?
I feel like everyone's got a really fun story for this. Yeah. And I'm mine's maybe not. I don't know, you sort of look back and you go, okay, when I was growing up, I did sit there with the cassette and sing over old songs and things like that. Yeah. But I think for me, I was going to be a graphic designer, and I went to uni and did all the graphic design stuff.
Oh, cool.
And I was working at a friend's parents' company, but I just wasn't enjoying it. And I was applying for jobs in graphic design and I wasn't getting anything. And it was about a 30-minute drive to my work at the time. And so I just sat there listening to breakfast shows all the time. And I got really ingrained with some of the brekkie shows in Adelaide. And I was, became a fanboy of them and rocked up to all their OBs and all that sort of stuff. And I think there was a point where I went, well, this is making me happy. And I'd like to do that too. So is there a way to do that? And that's where that started happening.
Yeah. So did you study to get where you are today? Did you go to radio school at all?
I did go to radio school in Adelaide, the Australian Radio School, and if you'll talk to anyone from the network of the Australian Radio School, they'll talk all about Sean Craig Murphy and everything he's done for everyone. Yeah, I did an intro course. I did I think it was called a master's course, where we sort of did a mock breakfast show and all of that. And then after that, I met some cool people and we hooked up a community radio show. And so I did that for about 10 months just before I got my first gig.
Yeah, awesome. And then was your first gig at Power FM?
No, so I did a cheeky 10-month stint in Lismore, which is Triple Z FM, up near Byron Bay. So it was a good 10 months, but also, real crash course in this is what radio is all about.
Yeah, awesome. And then when you did get to Power FM, did you start on the drive show, or were you in production kind of first?
Yeah, production and weekend shifts, and then slowly, as people moved out and they sort of went, oh, Craig can probably get a thing here. It started as a 1 hour show and then a 2 hour show, and then you're doing the drive show, and then you're doing breakfast, and it's just changed a little bit every other year.
Yeah, cool. So how did you get the breakfast show? Did someone actually leave, or did you kind of start with Molly? How did that come about?
Yeah, Molly was with Damon at the time, and they had a great brekkie show, and I was doing the drive show. And I think actually even before Molly got there, Crystal had left. So it was Damon and Crystal. And I pitched, knowing full well that they weren't going to go for two guys. I was like, Damon and Craig, it could work, maybe. And they were like, look, it's not going to work, but we'll give you the drive show. You can turn it into a bit of, they gave me the freedom to make it a content show as well. They're like, do 2 hours music shift, 2 hours content. And they really let me play, which, God, I thank them for every single day. It's go nuts, do whatever you want. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I've made plenty of mistakes. But yeah, I think they knew from that point that I was hungry to be in the breakfast slot. So when it opened up, I think I still had to make sure that they knew again at that point. But I was like, I really want to be on the brekkie show.
And that's something that everyone that I've spoken to has said is the word hunger. Like, you have to be hungry for it, I suppose. And I guess I feel like a majority of announcers want to be on the breakfast shift. So do you ever sit there doing breakfast and think, oh my gosh, like, I'm a breakfast announcer? Like, do you ever have that moment where you're like, wait, this is my life?
Yeah, yeah, definitely it happens. I know that there's like, yeah, if I stepped out 1 second, someone else would want to be in there so
Yes.
bad. In fact, I think I've heard specific people that want to be, because it's so close to Adelaide as well, and everyone
that's
does
true.
the Australian radio school, so they're all like in Adelaide anyway, and so I do kind of
Yep.
want to move on for them, but I'm also like, hang on, let me go out with dignity, you know? Let me go out on my terms.
Yeah, exactly. So what was your favorite part of radio school, would you say?
Ooh, good question. I feel like Sean Craig Murphy is a great mentor. He's very sadly recently got told to leave his job, which is not great, but he's still got the radio school and he's sort of pivoting
Yeah.
into content. He's now actually at a community station in Adelaide called Fresh. I don't know if you've heard of Fresh 92.7.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
They do some very incredible stuff, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he does there. But yeah, in terms of the best part of it, I think like he got in so many people that were actually in radio.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't just like, oh, who's this guy talking to me? It was like, oh, he's got, this connection here and this connection
Yeah.
here, and they're working in it day in, day out. I think the producer for one of the Brekkie shows at the time came in and I half knew him and I was like, oh, you were up at whatever AM, and he's sitting there telling us all about how his day works, and it's like, that's just insane. But to hear from the people that were working in there, that was really cool.
I suppose the connections through it would just be insane through radio school. Like, meeting new people would be so cool.
Yeah, it's funny to look back on, and Sean always puts up pictures of like the groups and the classes, and you go back and you go back to this one particular photo and there's Ben and Liam,
Yes.
and that's hectic to see.
Because it's like, I suppose people that are in your class and then they make it big and you're like, wait, I knew them.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
weird.
no,
I was going to say, I don't think too many people from my class. There was one guy who got, there's like the major award. He got the major award and he was doing really well, and then he sort of faded away. I don't know that he's in radio anymore, but not too many of them are from my group, but you certainly see him come through from all the other groups.
For sure. How long did radio school go for?
So the intro course was only like, I think 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And then the master's one must have been similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't too long, but it was like once a week, 2 hours
Yeah.
once a week on a Wednesday night or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you have a pretty cool social media, like TikTok, Instagram, like you're pretty cool over on social media. Now, obviously, you've interviewed a fair few, like, amount of cool people. You've got, like, the Wiggles, you've interviewed Jimmy Rees, Ross Noble, Vance Joy. Who's, like, been your favourite person, if there was one, that you've interviewed, do you reckon?
It's so hard to pick one. I know you did say Vance Joy at the end there. That was a really, really big one. I just remember, we couldn't believe it. I think we were there early that morning at like 5:30, sitting there freaking out, trying to make sure the Zoom was all good.
Yeah.
That was a huge one. But I think recently we've had some really cool ones where it's like maybe we don't play them on the radio as much, but it was kind of good to get them. We got Baby No Money and Young Gravy was huge.
No way!
That was, yeah, we managed to get, I don't know how we did it or who did it, but somehow our radio station got in on like the PR chain of all the really cool events in Adelaide.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so we're just like, well, shoot our shot. Like, we'd love to chat to XYZ. And then when that one came through, blew my mind.
Wow, no, that is really, really cool. How do you think social media has helped you personally in your career, if you think it has?
Well, yeah, actually, I did get some a direct link that just proved to me it is good. And the person that basically got me onto social media was Molly, because she was sitting there using, I think it was Headliner. I don't know if that's still a thing that goes around, but she was using it to grab bits from the show and put it up and, get that audio on a different platform. And I remember she said to me, like, someone, like a content director had seen her content and knew about her because of it on social media. And I was like, well, I need to do this as well. I need to be getting on there. And it was a few years later that I talked to the content director of Mix 102.3 in Adelaide. And he was like talking to me about potentially doing some weekend stuff. And he brought up, oh, hey, I've seen your stuff on social media. And I was like, oh,
Oh, that's good.
yeah. So you get that direct feedback. You go, okay, so like, you're putting 1,000 things up. Some of them are only getting 2 views, and you're like, well, if it gets the right view, then
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Your shows on Mix, that was it 2022?
I think it was that, early 2023?
Yeah.
Sort of. I'm sort of on the roster, sort of not on the roster. It's a weird moment in time right now. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, how did that come about? Did you have to apply or did they reach out to you kind of thing?
So the good thing about our station is when ARN took over Grant Broadcasters, we sort of got into the folds of all the ARN stuff. And I think they went through a different content director at the time. Like, there was a switch of the guards of who was the content director. And I remember seeing it on, like, the internal intranet sort of thing. And I went, well, I got to figure out who this person is. And so as soon as I saw that they were appointed, I tried typing their email in. And what I found out is you can start typing people's emails in our thing and you'll get anyone in ARN. So if you know who you want to talk to, you just start typing their name and you've got their email. So I sent him an email and said, hey, congrats on the job in Adelaide. I'm like here in Murray Bridge, was sort of like an hour away, but I could still make it to the station for stuff. And I just said, when you finally get to Adelaide, because I think he came from South Africa, I said, well, let's catch up in the city. And true to his word, he made that happen. And then, that was it. He's like, we need a couple of extra people on the roster because everyone gets sick, during winter.
Yes.
So that was really, really good. And he's like, yep, you come in, do some training. And I think it was that Christmas sort of 23 to 24 maybe?
Oh, yeah.
It was somewhere around that time. And yeah.
Yeah. Going from the breakfast show with Katie, and then also having the mix shifts, what do you find's different about doing a show with someone, like, compared to solo? Because I've only ever done solo shifts. What do you think is the biggest difference?
It's, I guess it's that share of voice when you're doing a show and making sure that the other person can shine as much as you. And there's a little bit more, I guess, creative energy. You can be a bit more creative. Well, no, you can be creative in both.
Because you have someone to bounce off, I suppose, when you're with someone. But I suppose when you're solo too, you have your own ideas. I don't know.
But I guess, in a show format, I guess you're more focused on content and having conversations. And not to say that a music shift isn't a conversation, but it's more, music passion. I probably do a lot less music passion in the Brekkie show. It's more about reflecting local conversations and relatable conversation.
How do you find waking up? What time do you get into the studio? Because your shift starts at 7, right?
6.
6. Sorry, 6. I meant to say 6.
No, you're right.
So would you get in at like 5 to prep, or
so
what does your morning look like?
Yeah, alarm goes off at 3:45.
No way.
Yeah. Katie's goes off a little bit earlier. Hers is at 3:30, I think. But yeah.
What?
Which is fun. I'm probably a bit slow in the morning to get going, but by I get in the car by 4:20 usually, and then I'm there by 5ish, and and then 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock is just what's happening this morning. How can I make it interesting and entertaining?
Yeah, and just preparing for the show, I suppose.
Yeah.
What does a typical day in your life look like outside of the studio?
Outside of the studio is interesting. Yeah, because the show 6 to 9 is pretty hectic, and then from like sort of 9 o'clock to 9:30, I do a lot of audio editing. I'll go through. I save off everything we do on the show, like every single break, and I'll go through and maybe grab a couple of bits and trim them down, cut out some some of the fluff to just get like sort of 30-second grabs for the workday guys to use. Yeah. Which I think everyone should do, because you listen back to yourself and you go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. At the same time, you're cutting that out anyway for the workday guy.
Yeah, true.
But it's really good because then you're like air checking yourself every single day, which is really, really good. So that's about a half hour. Then there's usually a meeting or something like that. But then it's just looking, to tomorrow. Am I prepping some audio for Chicken Tuesday? Am I prepping
that.
Am I prepping a story that's maybe broken and we just missed it? And just looking at what the next day, week, month looks like, and squeezing every ounce of time you can, because time just disappears in this bloody job. It just disappears.
100%. And for those who are confused about Chicken Tuesday,
Could you figure out a song if all the instruments are replaced by chickens? Let's find out, and good luck.
And I don't want the world to see me.
Follow and subscribe so you don't miss next week.
you have to go and watch Craig's video. Oh my goodness. One of yours actually went viral on Instagram. I did
did.
see that. My question that I had written down is, how do you choose the song for Chicken Tuesday?
Well, I try to make sure it's part of our... Usually I go to the weekend and see what's played and just like go through and have a look. But yeah, there is like a weird criteria that I am not 100% across myself, but you sort of like, there's some songs that are so muddy. I try and find something that's got like a clear bass line, a clear sort of melody, because once you listen to it and then cluck it into a microphone, you sort of, you need to be able to make it sound somewhat like the original song. And if it's too muddy of a mix... I think I did Lady Gaga's Abracadabra once, and I thought, I wasn't sure. But you sort of have to, sometimes it's trial and error, but most of the time it's just like, what's in our system? And more recently, I have been trying to be a bit more coy about it, and I've been looking up, like, what's the biggest songs that have ever sold, and what are the most... Sometimes I've been looking at TikTok trending songs, and I've trying to be hack it so that it sort of works a bit more on social media as well.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like if you get a TikTok song and then you post it on TikTok, it's going to get more views.
Yeah, exactly.
What's one song that you secretly don't like, but you have to play on the radio?
Oh, I did actually see you asked Abby this, didn't you? And I was like, I got to be careful of that question because I don't know what I'd choose. But actually, I do know, like, UB40's Red Red Wine. I don't know why we still play that. It's just... Not that I don't like reggae or anything, but it's just I hear it and I'm like, oh, it's just like putting a handbrake on the whole day. You know?
Yeah. It's like, obviously we don't choose the music, so once something is played for just that little bit too long and it just gets to the point where it's overplayed, you're like, oh, come on. If you weren't in radio, what would you be doing?
I think before now I probably would have thought I'll keep going down that graphic design path. Maybe I'd be a junior designer somewhere or something like that. But probably more recently, it's like I've gotten pretty heavily into content creation. So maybe there would be something in video making and editing.
Yeah, cool. And I feel like maybe you have Molly to credit for that too, after you said she kind of got you into headliner and stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. She's taught me some really good lessons, and I think that's the great thing about anyone you work with in radio. It's like if they learn a lesson, you do too. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. I feel like this is definitely the industry where you learn something new every single day.
Yeah, for sure. And it doesn't matter how long you're in it. You just something will pop up and you go, oh yeah, could do that better next time, or could do that.
Yes, 100%. Who would you say you look up to in the industry?
Well, for a long time, I have definitely looked up to people like anyone that's sort of in that, what do you call it, like an active anchor role. So people like Tim Blackwell definitely has been an inspiration for me. More locally, there was a guy called Lewis and Lowe, Shane Lowe. Shane Lowe was he's a really smart operator. He's been around Adelaide a fair bit, but not in radio at the moment, which is unfortunate because he's a super creative guy. And Dylan Lewis as well was a big one. He's on Double J now, but he had his stint in Adelaide. He was very good. And I think as well, like Ben, Liam and Bell are pretty big up there for me as well. Yeah,
100%. I feel like it's really interesting, as we were saying off camera before, like I feel like I definitely, if I was asked that question, you would be in my list. And as you said, like you don't feel like you would ever like get someone saying that, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know if I thought it was going to happen when I got like to a metro, and I feel like because I haven't got to a metro station yet, I'm like, why are people, I haven't had that success yet. Why are people asking me about? But it's like, no, you still know stuff, I guess.
How long have you been working in radio now? Because obviously you've been at Power FM for, what'd you say, 10 years?
It's coming up on it. I think so. My first gig was in Lismore, and I got that.
Yeah.
At the end of 2015, so it's actually probably not far off 10 years in radio.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, cool. Because then, so did you finish year 12? And then you went on to study graphic design.
Yeah, so I went to university for a couple of years, and then I think even after university, I did a couple of years of just working. So I
Yeah.
felt like, oh, everyone, when I see you at your age, I'm like, oh man, I missed out on all that. But then again, like Katie, who I work with, didn't come in until, she's like late 30s, early 40s. So
Yeah.
and she's only just been in radio for 2.5 years. So everyone comes into, you just can't,
Yeah.
compare.
I was going to say it's different for everyone. So, yeah. Should we get to the Q&A?
Yeah, let's jump in.
Okay.
I'm intrigued.
And now we've got the Q&A. Starting off strong, Sean has asked, Craig, what is your favourite Pokemon?
Sean has.
Yeah.
Sean, my favourite Pokemon is Arcanine. He's a big, fluffy fire dog.
I'll put a photo of Arcanine on the screen because I have no idea what that is.
It's like a dog. Giant dog.
My co-worker, Keegs, is actually obsessed with Pokemon as well. So I'll let him know. That's your favourite too. Abby, who I had on the podcast last week, actually has asked you, we already answered this, but who is someone you look up to in our industry?
Yeah.
Maybe who is someone that you first looked up to when you started?
I guess Shane
Or is it kind
Lowe,
of the same?
Yeah, Shane Lowe was really in that role, and he was doing the kinds of things. Actually, also someone whose name I had not heard in a long time again. He worked with Maz Compton, Dan DeBoof. Do you remember Dan and Maz at all?
Yes.
So Dan was, yes, again, super creative. He's one of those shows that I just zeroed in on and was like fanboy of. And I remember he had a thing called like Dude's Day Tuesday or something. And it was like, oh, only men's stuff, but it was so not, because he's the most effeminate man out there. So it was hilarious. But he, I remember being in like a boardroom, I went into Nova in Adelaide and was like a part of this chat with them about, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what they did, but I just remember being absolutely astounded at how creative he could be every single day. I was like, that's what I want to do. He just made me laugh all the time. I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to do that too.
Yeah, cool. Mia has asked, what is your favourite song? We'll start there.
Favourite song? Gee, that's the trickiest thing. All time.
I know. If people say to someone working in radio, what's your favourite song? That is just crazy.
Yeah, I just go through bouts of so many different songs. I'm very much on a Baby No Money train at the moment. Check was a great one.
Yep.
That was really good. I don't know. It just bounces around so many times.
100%, I agree. And then Sin has asked, what is your least favourite song?
Least favourite. Am I allowed to say UB40 again?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't know. That one comes on. There's another one too that's like that. Is it like something about misery, something or other? I don't know.
Oh,
do you know the one I'm talking about?
is it,
I clearly don't know the name.
No, it's not Panic at the Disco.
Nah, I don't mind Panic at the Disco. I'm okay with
what do you
it.
think of Dance Monkey? Are you a fan?
That's really tricky. So in COVID, my daughter was like 2, and so she obsessed about that song, and that was huge. And it was it did get played a lot, but it kind of brought her a lot of joy. So I kind of didn't get wigged out by it. I was kind of I kind of feel okay about Dance Monkey.
I feel like because it brought her joy, it kind of brings you joy. But
yeah.
How did you not think it was a little bit overplayed?
Oh, it was overplayed, yeah. But I think that's with anything in radio, and that's probably a really good example of even, maybe not a radio example, but if you can see it through the eyes of a 2-year-old and go, they love it because of whatever, then it's and then if you can find another thing, and that's what I kind of find with songs, it's okay, I've sold the fact that it's by this Australian artist. What's the next way I'm going to sell that same song? And so if you can keep digging up ways, there's a little bit of ear candy in there. Have you ever heard that in the song? The more ways you can find to sell the same song, I mean, that's going to give you longevity, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I find myself doing that every day, looking up weird facts about people. I found out that Teddy Swims' last name isn't actually his name. Swims is an acronym for someone who isn't me sometimes.
I didn't know that yet.
Yeah. So if I need to tease the same song for the 100th time, I'll just say, well, guys, guess what? Here's a new fun fact.
What's he got to hide? Why has he got an acronym for a last name?
Yeah, exactly. I wonder what his real last name is.
Well, maybe that's like because he can. Yeah, maybe he doesn't like being so because he's quite vulnerable as an artist.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a way for him to escape that and not put it to his own name. I don't know.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, Michael has asked, did you always want to get into radio? You kind of answered this earlier.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, not always, but I think, and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh, I listened to that show when I was younger, and we would drive into school, and I used to listen to Fitzy, Claire, and Jules, and like that was years ago. So
And that's
strange.
something that I've spoken about a lot with my co-workers is that you'll listen to shows unintentionally. Like, a lot of people say, oh, well, I don't listen to the radio, but it's like you do, because whenever you're, in a shop, or if you've gone to fill up your car with petrol and you've gone into the BP, like, the radio is going to be on, and you're going to hear that stuff unintentionally. So I think the same. Like, whenever I'm in the car, when I was in the car going on the way to primary school, I was listening to the Brekkie shows, like, but you have to think about it to be like, oh, wait, I did listen to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's once you dig back. That's why I was like, I don't have an interesting story of like, I heard this when I was 5 and I was holding a microphone and everyone else is like, yeah, that's what I was. So I knew I wanted to be in radio. But like now that I look back at it, I'm like, no, I did like all that stuff and I did sort of do that stuff.
Yeah, because I feel like I was that kid in school where I was like, I have no idea what I want to do. And so I'm kind of the same as you. I never really had this moment of being like, oh, that's what I want to do. I just it just happened. So I get where you're coming from. For sure. That was the end of the Q&A, but I have a question again. Is what is like, well, you might be living it now, but what is like the complete dream, I suppose? What would you say? Would it be in Adelaide, or like what do you think is to come down the track maybe?
Yeah, I think because I listened so much in Adelaide and because I think like I want to go even nicher. Sorry, I was just thinking like because I was like, I've always wanted to be the active anchor of a breakfast show in Adelaide, but I think like even more niche, I do want to be on Nova. I do want that next slot at Nova. Whenever Jodie and Hazy are done, I'll pop my head in there. I really do. I don't know. It's just Nova had a huge effect on me. I think it's because it came in with that whole Triple J / pop station vibe. Like it was the perfect mix, and like when they came through, I just remember it being so generationally changing, and it just had such an effect on me. And while I've listened around to other stations, like Nova's always been number 1 on the dial. It still hasn't changed.
Really?
Yeah.
That was actually going to be my next question. Like, if you weren't listening to your station, who would be the next station that you'd listen to? Because I do find myself... What were you going to say? Sorry?
No, it probably is Nova. Yeah, they are number 1, but like there's good shows and stuff on now, so I do flick around.
Yeah, no, me too, because whenever I'm driving and I'll flick listener and I'll just flick through some stations and see what's happening. It's really interesting to see what's going on around you every now and then.
Yeah. And Molly, who was on the Brekkie show with me, went on to Triple M afternoons, so by the time I was driving home, I could tune into her, which was really good.
Yeah, I love that. Do you remember your very first time on air? Like, what was that experience like?
No, kind of. I remember the vibes. Maybe not the exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I remember being super nervous and not confident at all in my voice. Like that was a big thing when I went to radio school. I was kind of like I like the idea of this, and I would like to be an announcer, but I don't know that I can. I don't know that I've got the confidence in my voice, and that certainly developed over those couple of weeks. But I think it took a long time. Even when I came to Power FM, I listened back to some old breaks yesterday, and I was like, this is bad. Like, who gave me a chance? I mean, thank you, but my God, this is bad. But yeah, I remember being at Lismore at Triple Z FM, and I remember sitting down for an air check with the content director there, and he's just like, just like, it's great and that, but just like make it more conversational. Just like imagine you're sitting down with someone you don't know at the pub and you're talking, and I'm like, I don't go to the pub and sit down with people I don't know. Like, what are you asking me to do? I don't understand that, but I think like slowly I've figured it out.
Do you get nervous anymore being on air, or are you kind of used to it now?
I'd say mostly used to it, but I feel like I fluctuate. I don't know why, but the last week I was really in my head, and I feel like I've been a little bit, it comes and goes.
Really interesting. I feel like that's very refreshing, I suppose. Seeing someone that's worked in radio for 10 years and hearing that, like, I feel like people think that you never get nervous, but that's really refreshing to hear that, sometimes you do get a little bit of nerves.
Yeah.
I feel like if there's a topic that you're not like 100%, I suppose, no, like educated on, do you get a little bit more nervous talking about it? Like,
For sure, yeah, and I think it's probably good in, like, I'm still technically in a regional market, so it's kind of like good. I force myself to try stuff, like, I don't know if I'm 100% going to get this right, but I'll give it a go, because that's when you learn the most. But yeah, absolutely, when things come up, I'm like, I don't know exactly where I'm going with this. That's when you get nervous. That's when the ums and the ahs start coming out, and yeah.
Yes, we hate the ums and the ahs.
Yeah, I think that was something I picked up this week. That's why I was so in my head. I'm like, I say and ah a lot. Why am I saying that? But it's good. Like, again, you're air checking yourself. And can I expose the DM that I had with Tim Lee, actually, as well? Is that okay?
Yeah, go on.
Because I was just talking about imposter syndrome. I can't remember if I asked it or someone else asked it when he did Ask Me Anything while he was still recovering from the motorcycle accident. But I remember there was something there, and I was like, is there any way to get over imposter syndrome? And he was like, look, I tell you what, if you find a cure, let me know. Cause
was that you that asked that question? I saw that.
I can't remember if it was me or if I jumped in the DMs after that was said. But yeah.
Is there a moment in your career that stands out to you as like a pinch me moment? Something really cool that's happened, do you reckon?
It's tricky. I don't want to say the cop out of Acras, but but that is like when I'd tried for years and years and I hadn't got anything, and I got cranky, like, why aren't they, seeing what I'm doing? And I guess you just don't know. They're judging a minute, sometimes 2 minutes of audio, and they don't know the whole story. They don't know the heart and the soul that everyone's poured in. Not everyone can be nominated, but yeah, the couple of times that I've been nominated and been to the Acras has been pretty like, oh, wow, people in my industry know who I am.
To go to the Acras?
I had a 2022 and 2024. It was the best produced comedy provincial.
That's cool.
Nominated, not won.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's what that is up there. That one was from 2002. Yeah.
And what was that experience like? Like, was it in Sydney for the Acras?
Yeah, Sydney both times. First one, I was super nervous. Kyle and Jackie O got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
That's cool.
Didn't realise until the last minute that I was sitting back-to-back with Jack Post, which was huge. And I actually, no, I think later in that night he recommended me a drink. He was like, oh, you should have a rum and coke or something. I don't know. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, it was incredible to rub shoulders with everyone like that. Yeah. And the one hang-up I have about 2022 is I was on the red carpet and was sort of like wandering like a deer in headlights because I had no idea what was going on. And Ben Fordham was like doing interviews with like all the people, and Ben Fordham like came up to me and went, come on, mate, just move down here a little bit. And he shoved me along the line like I wasn't important at all. It's like, I'm going to remember that, mate.
Toast.
Yeah. Ben
Is there
Fordham.
any cool people that you met at the Acras that stand out to you? Because I'm so jealous. Like, I'm so sad it got cancelled this year.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I had all the things ready to go.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
All the breaks saved.
Hopefully they bank up the last couple of years because there's some good gear. And I'm like, it'd be a shame not to be able to highlight that. I remember the first one. Mitch Churi was dancing with the two girls from the pickup as well, Britt and Laura. And I was like, I was way too nervous on the first one. I was like not going up to anyone. But I went and got a photo with Ben. I went and got a photo with Ben and Liam, who had actually announced the award. So I have this beautiful picture of my big head up on the screen next to Ben and Liam there.
Cool.
So that was good. And then, the next year, it's all a bit of a blur, 2024. I can't remember, not because of drinking. I behaved myself that time. 2022 is a different story, but 24... 24 there was a couple of Nova people I went and shook hands with, but yeah, I feel like we were like the back table, and so I felt like we didn't really get up and about and chat to too many people. Yeah, wow. Well, an amazing story, an amazing career journey you have, Craig. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit of a fan, so I'm very grateful that you could come on to the podcast today. Thank you so much for having a chat. Oh, thanks for having me, and yeah, I can't wait to see your career go as well. I don't know exactly. I didn't get to ask you questions. Maybe I have to start a podcast and ask you all the same questions back.